All right, we're doing good here. The intro music's not playing.
Well,
This is just how we start a new one. Here we go. Let's see if it
Yeah.
works. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, we are live. Oh, there it goes.
all right.
That was AI's best effort at Fado fused with techno. So welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to the debut episode. You've been listening to us for a while, but we got a name now. We've got a new show here. This is PortuGolaço here on the Mr. Benfica podcast channel, and this is episode 1. We're starting the 2026-27 season. I can't believe I just said that part out loud, but here we are. We have completed the World Cup this summer, and we're back to the two-going shenanigans. We got an audio leak today. Did you hear about that, guys? Involving
Yes.
Pedro
About
Proença.
that. Yeah.
The Tuga is back.
Yeah.
It did not take long for the Portuguese league, shenanigans to come back.
It's just the Portuguese league humiliating itself again. So
Once again, right? Once again.
yeah.
But preseason is in full blown. So this is a preview episode. Okay, we're going to talk about what's coming this season. All right, Benfica and Braga have already played a couple official matches. I'm going to talk quickly about Benfica, and then we're going to move on to other things. So Benfica right now are down 2-1 to St. Gallen in their preliminary round, their playoff round, whatever you want to call it, in the UEFA Europa League. And you guys noted, and this is why I stay out of the comment sections of Abola and of Record and those publications. But yes, there was a major meltdown over this. Now, I didn't watch it live, okay? I was listening on the radio. I couldn't find it at the time. Apparently BN Sport aired it after the fact because it ended up recorded on my DVR. So I have seen it now.
Cool. Okay.
I have seen it now, and while it was not good, I'm not going to say it was not good. If I had gone by just what I'd read on the internet, it was not nearly as bad or as diabolical and as doomsday-ish as it sounded. It was not a good. It was not good, but Benfica starting with a very makeshift team. Big parts of the club are not there right now.
Yeah.
So starting a double pivot in midfield of Manu with a youth player in Miguel Figueiredo is going to give you what it gives you, okay? And I know a lot of people are already given up on Manu, saying he's not a player for he had nobody to play with in this match. So I think people need to pump the brakes a little bit after one match and already, spelling a doom. But there's a lack of still clinical finishing in the final third from Benfica. A lot of things carried over from last season. That's what I saw when I watched this game. John Duran, the new signing, I believe he's going to be suited up on Thursday, so he will be an option off the bench. He's known for being very clinical, for needing half a chance and for finishing. He likes to shoot. He shoots from far. He shoots from close. Something that looks like it's sorely lacking in this team. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets integrated here. Pavlidis gave an effort, but again, not getting any service near goal. Once again, it's Rafa Silva who comes up with the goal. And, for all the fans that didn't want him back here last season, here he is.
Yeah.
He can still score. He can still do things that make a difference in the final product. Is he the ideal player? Probably not. But for what we have right now, this is, when he's playing well and when he's in form, and he typically starts his seasons well. That's a lot of his best play is early on. So I think Benfica need to take advantage of him. Marco Silva needs to take advantage of him. The wing play wasn't there. Prestiani is suspended. Sheldrup is either gone or not back yet. We'll see how that unfolds over the next couple of weeks. Luca Bacchio's not back yet. So this team is really stretched. Thiago Gouveia is out, but played this game anyway. He was already on his way to Mexico to play for Atlas,
Yep.
yet he was still used in this game. Antonio Silva has 1.5 feet out the door, but he played in this match. So it's not a good situation to be in for Marco Silva right now with what he's got at his disposal. We got to see a debut of Lenglet. I think I said his name right. All right. Again, it's a brand new partnership. So these kind of center back partnerships take time. So in the first real game, I know Flamingo played that preseason match like it was a real game, and they made a highlight clip of their Algarve Trophy triumph and everything. But this was the first real game. And it wasn't perfect. Alexander Ba has a mistake at right back, leads to the first goal. He loses the ball in his defensive third, leads to the first goal, a goal that I think Trubin needs to stop. If Trubin is going to be on the wages he's on, he can't be conceding these kind of goals this many times, this often. And, I also am not trying to bury Trubin at this point, but for the wages he's on, he needs to be better than he was in this game, and as he has been, going back to last season. But overall, okay, like I said, not a good game, but not the end of the world either. The result is not great, but it's manageable, 2-1. If we came back 2-0, I think it'd be a much different story going into this second leg. Obviously, had Leandro Barreiro not had a bacterial infection, I think that this game also might have been different. The midfield would have been a bit stronger. There'd have been more ball winning. And I think we probably get out of there with a 1-1 result instead of losing 2-1, or it's 2-2. Maybe he arrives late in the area and makes something happen. But from what I understand, he's ready to go this week, and so is John Duran, like I said. So it'll be interesting to see how they come out on Thursday at home. I'm sure the stadium will have a lot of people. There's a lot of people on vacation right now. Portugal's flooded with expats. My parents are over there. I'm sure you guys have family over there at this point. Exactly. So these people are going to show up to these games, and there's an extra element of support right now. I think it should come in handy. But all in all, I'm not entirely worried because, I mean, even we now know if Benfica do advance, they're going to play Hearts in the next round. That was established today. Hearts lost their Champions League qualifier to Sturm Graz, and they dropped down. Benfica don't advance. Benfica go into the Conference League, which may have its benefit. I don't want to say this part out loud because diehard fans are going to think I don't have, I'm not exigent enough, but they could have its positives on the other side going into a lesser tournament and being able to use people further down the roster. But if that happens, it's going to be, I think, either Sheriff or somebody else. Those are the two teams. I saw it earlier today. Whoever comes out of that round would be Benfica's opponent. But I'm not too concerned about going out. I think Benfica get this done at home on Thursday. Despite, it's early. They've played two friendly matches, and then they come out and they play this qualifier, which I think they kind of came in at preseason speed. That was part of the problem. But again, if Benfica convert early, Sudakov has a great opportunity and go up 1-0. It's a completely different game. Instead, they let St. Gallen get on the score sheet first, and then they let St. Gallen get an uncontested header at the back post late in the game. That can't happen, but defending set pieces, things like that, that's all done on the training pitch, and those kinds of things take some time. So I'm willing to be patient, but I've always been one of the patient ones when it comes to Benfica. I just don't want to see constant turnover where one guy has a bad game and now he's being shipped off somewhere else, and we're continually just a constant revolving door. Mauricio, you said you saw the game, right?
Yes. Yeah, I saw the game live. I was supposed to be working while it's on in the background, but yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the game. And listen, when the first guy off your bench is Thiago Gouveia, that tells you the depth that you're coming into that game. Yeah. And I believe, it could be wrong, but I think they start their league already this past weekend that just went through.
They played this weekend against Zurich.
Yeah, and these games, and Derek knows this too, for us in our league, they're still preseason. Our guys aren't ready yet. These games are always tricky. That's why it's always like when you're not directly in the Champions League or in Europe, something can happen because we're not used to these games this early. And we're usually playing second division teams doing like scrimmages in the morning and afternoon and things like that. Our teams aren't really up for it. I think for Benfica, it's just more like, I think once this game at home, I expect them to win. Not even just win, but I think convincingly. I think they should win like 2-3-0. To be honest, that's what I'm expecting. I think it's a little dramatic, all those papers and everything after a game. They had the first time traveling away and stuff like that. Like,
it's worried about it.
No, exactly. I think the only thing that's a little concerning is just that, like, the midfield part. There was no one there in the midfield part, but you're missing Pereiro, Rios. You know, you're missing a lot of guys. You know what I mean? Arsenal. You're missing, like, the real hardcore Benfica's team was missing. And it doesn't say a lot when a guy like Berenchea can't even start in this game, which is
I think he's good as gone. I don't think he's in the plans. If he was not going to be used in this game, then when is he going to be used?
Him and Ivanovic, if you can't be used in a game like this when, you know, it's really to get that playing time that you need to convince the coach, I can't see them really staying on the team, especially with Duran now being on the team and everything. But, Mike, I'm not too concerned. I think the team, the people, the fans took a little bit like it's like a mid-season game, and it's
they did
and I think once this team from Switzerland, St. Gallen, come into Portugal, I think it's going to be a totally different story.
I agree.
I think so too. You saw a little bit of it with Benfica's game following the system. They played Belenenses at home. They really
the very next day.
They really took it to Belenenses to just show everyone that everything's fine.
Right.
So I mean, I feel very confident that they're going to win convincingly against this team. But it's tougher for teams like Benfica, Sporting, Porto, who had so many players, international players that are playing in the World Cup. So they haven't filtered back yet. Which is explaining all these absences, which can lead to irregular games, and I think that that was the case here with Sunderland. But because they lost and because there was this backlash, I think it's going to serve as motivation for the second leg, and I fully expect them to take it to the house.
Yeah.
All right. I think we can move on from that then, and I'll let you guys have your time now to talk about your Sporting impressive preseason.
There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot
to talk about there. I'm going to give you guys the floor. Have at it.
There's a lot.
You want to take the lead, Derek?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. There's a lot to unpack. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect the preseason to go in this direction. I'm considering what the motivation is behind this. And it does lead back, in my opinion, to the final of the Taça. I guess that was sort of the beginning of the preseason, and how it's sort of shaped the preseason. I mean, I'll start off by saying that was an unacceptable loss. You can't lose that game. You cannot lose that game. So I understand why there's this strong reaction. But you also have to, look at Sporting over the last 6 seasons, the 3 championships, the 2 runners-up, League Cup victories. We did win a Taça, went to 3 finals, 3 Taça finals. Sort of a team that was crafted by Ruben. You look at these 6 years. Look at the last 3 years. This is the first time ever that Sporting had 80 plus points in 3 consecutive seasons. So this was a team that was constructed by Ruben that had these sort of these pillars. We all know Trincão was Ruben's man. We know Pot has been such an important player over the last 6 years. Nuno Sancho, with injuries and so on and so forth. Gonçalo Inácio, and there's just this core that was responsible for, in my opinion, or I think it's an actual fact that this is Sporting's most successful period in 70 years. So that's why I'm very I'm surprised at how essentially in one preseason that entire team has been deconstructed. We saw when Ullman wasn't a surprise. Mm-hmm. I think it was announced last year that this is going to be his last year. We as Sportingistas, we all knew that he was leaving. So that wasn't a tremendous surprise when he left. Then we've just been after that. The surprises have been almost on a daily basis. I was really surprised with Trincão's move out. I didn't see that coming. It just happened out of the blue. They started talking about Saudi Arabia, and within a week or two, he was gone. Then Port, who this entire preseason has basically been marked for departure. He trained with the team. He participated in some of these friendlies, but it was a foregone conclusion that he was leaving. And it appears that he's gone. Now Diomande is gone. I know he was a guy that had been a pillar of our defense for the last few seasons. He's gone. We all know Morita was leaving. So Morita's left. Now he's with Hull City. This sort of like fulfilling his dream in playing the Premier League. We knew Kenda was going because he had already been sold a year ago. Yeah. So these are a lot of pieces to lose in one preseason. So what you're going to have is you're going to have a new team. There's a lot of uncertainty, surrounding this team. So I'm just, we've granted, there's a financial aspect of it. Sporting has made a lot of money, this transfer period. We've also spent a lot of money. I think we've spent far more than anybody else in the league, constructing this new team. So I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the construction of this team, and I'm thinking here that this is a direct response to Porto's championship, and this is a direct response to what happened in that cup final. You're bringing in guys these guys are physical. The Sporting is going to be a much more physical team. Salazar is replacing Trincão essentially at that 10th spot. Salazar is a lot more physical than Trincão. I mean, we all know Trincão was not especially physical guy. Altamira, the guy that we brought in from Betis, for 20 million, he's the new Ullman, and he appears to be considerably more physical than Ullman. Doumbia is the new Morita, and Doumbia he's 6'2" and he's built like a tank. So he's clearly more physical than the more diminutive Pat Morita, who I do love. So I think this team was constructed to sort of compete with Porto's physicality. I think this was a team that it's a younger team. It's a team that should be playing with more energy. And I think that was lacking in that cup final. So I think this team is essentially a consequence of what happened last season. But my concern is this. I mean, we are bringing in these guys. They're young guys, physical guys. We spent a lot of money on these guys. But can they match the quality of the players that left? We just talked about Rafa Silva. Rafa Silva came in. Rafa Silva has the ability to score. Mm-hmm. I think that you cannot underrate that ability. Port, for all the injuries, and it was injured the last couple of seasons. Yet in the limited time that he played, he found ways to score goals. Trincão had a really good goal scoring year last year. He has a left foot. He has the ability to score. You had guys here. It's a rare. It's a rare. I just feel that it's a rare. Let's see, I got distracted there. But it's a rare.
I'll read the comment after.
I'm sorry about that, man. But it's rare to find a guy who can score. I think that, prior to Rafa Silva, Benfica was getting essentially all their goals from Pavlidis. They weren't then getting those secondary scores. We just let these secondary scores lead. are the guys that are going to come in, do they have the ability to score goals? Are they going to replace the goals, the goals that we lost? I'm just I'm very cautious about this upcoming season. I've seen friendlies. I don't think you can take too much away from them. Thus far, I think, Strasbourg, the Strasbourg friendly, I found Strasbourg to be woefully unprepared to play. Same thing with Monaco. They have a new coach. Philippe Luis is the new coach. And I guess, we're much more advanced in the preseason than they were. So it's tough to take anything away from this. We'll see when on August 8th, when we play Stella Madura, what this team's made of. But I think there are more questions than there are answers right now with Sporting, in my opinion.
Mauricio, what do you think?
No, Derek pretty much summed up everything. This all started once we sold Kanda. Mateus Reis then left. Allison left at that time too. And it just started a whole trend. And I think what Derek was mentioning about the Dasa is a part of what's going on. I think that game showed that there's a lot of mileage on those legs of those guys that we depended on so much. And I think what Porto showed us is you can win this league with depth. And that's one thing me and Derek have been saying for a while. We never had depth on this team. And I think that's what's going on right now. I didn't see the Trincão going, but once he got offered those wages that they do in Saudi Arabia, but I think Sporting also looked at it as we can bank on him now and double the investment to get another couple guys in here. And I think that's what they did. I think what bought, he was injured and everything like that. He's been great for us. I think what he said after the season ended wasn't a good look either, when he said that he was, playing not to get hurt and he was focused on trying to make the national team. I kind of didn't like that. Like you're telling me you were out there just like, oh my God, I don't want you out. If you think you're going to get hurt, I don't want you out there playing. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But listen, I can't take away what he did for our team. And listen, the money you're going to get for him, it's kind of hard to turn down too. If you're going to get $30 million from Saudi Arabia for Bot at this level, at this time, at his age as well. But like Derek said, the thing we have to see right now, and I sent a message to Derek and I told him this, and this is what I believe. I think this year is going to prove how this sporting director really is. Because we had Hugo Viana, who got all those guys for Ruben, and Ruben approved it. And you saw what those guys did for us the last few years. They were just tremendous. Now it's this guy earning his stripes. Now it's the first time you're getting this whole full season and everything. You're getting these guys and now you're going to see what Rui Borges can do. Now let's put those two, the sporting director and the coach. Now this is the season that's going to show us, this is your team now. You constructed it already. It's your system. They got guys to play your system. We got you depth. Let's see what you could do. And I think it's a combination of how the league went last year with I think Champions League showing how dead our legs were those games. I mean, me and Derek were even saying, like, these guys can't run in this game. They look like by the 50th, 60th minute, like Rui Borges is waiting to sub. We're like, yo, you got to freshen this up. And really, who are you going to bring in? You know what I mean? And so I can see why that's going on. I'm kind of surprised Diomande. I actually thought with Ruben getting the Milan job, I thought he was going to come and get Ignacio. But it looks like he's not going to do that, which is fine with me. We
can't afford to lose anything else now.
But like Derek said, and I agree with him, it's a lot of turnover.
A lot of change.
And really, you won't know until these guys go to a Estoril, Estrela Amadora, Gazapi, and stuff like that to see really what they're like. I'm not worried about them playing at home in that open field and stuff like that. It's those little games with the Santa Claras, Marítimo. That's when you tell what team you got. And when you need a goal, who's the guy that's going to go get you that goal? Is it going to be Dumbia now? Is it going to be Salazar? But listen,
who's going to score?
The reason you gave that money, the money that you paid Braga for Salazar, for a reason. He's a dynamic player. We spoke about it, how he could play for any one of the top teams in Portugal when we did the podcast last year. We were raving about him, how he can do that easily. So now he gets his chance. He's going to be I think he's going to be that number 10 role, like Derek said, for where Trincão was playing. And, you just hope he can be that creator, that shot taker, and just see what happens. Like, I love how the midfield looks right now, but like Derek said, you take it with a grain of salt who they're playing. You really, it's preseason still. They're still getting a feel for each other. The only thing that I like so far is that they seem like they're starting to get close and together. Every time they score a goal, the way they celebrate, I see them on their socials and everything. So it looks good. It's a young group mixed in with a couple guys like Bragança, Inácio, and stuff like that.
But it looks like Bragança's not going to hang around either.
Yeah, and Bragança might go too. So.
Yeah.
But right now, it's a good mix of group. You hope everything flows. You saw what Porto did. You're thinking hopefully with a new, fresh look, it could do the same thing. But you keep your fingers crossed, and we'll see what happens. Like Derek said, not till the first game, we're not really gonna know what it is.
But the reason why I brought up the 6 years of I think relative success in the last 3 years of getting 80+ points, I don't think this team needed a complete turnover.
Right.
You see this kind of turnover, when a team is struggling, when a team is, fighting for fourth place, or a team is, struggling in Europe. This team just came off, a season where they went to the quarterfinals, the second time in history, in club history, this team made the quarterfinals of the top
Champions League, yeah.
I know that they still got 82 points. They made it to the finals of the Taça. I know they lost it, but they made it to the finals of the Taça. So that's what's really ruffled me a little bit. This isn't a team that was on a total free fall that required this level of turnover. So that's why I'm a little bit I'm really concerned by this. I mean, this is a complete deconstruction of Ruben Media at this club. Ruben's imprint is gone. Viana's influence is gone here. Like to Mauricio's point, this is now in Rui Borges' hands. I think that there's tremendous pressure on Rui Borges now. I really do. Following that loss to the Taça. And I know we made a lot of money, but we spent a lot of money on this.
Yeah.
And it looks like we're going to spend more. This Iraconde that they're talking about over at Watford, they're talking about that'd be like another 20 million euro investment. Ibrahim Ba was a 20 million euro investment just a few days ago for a guy that still can't play. This is I don't know. This is. They're rolling the dice here, man.
And that's why
that's how I feel about this.
It's on the sporting director, the guys that you're picking to get rid of and the change, and it's on the coach because the coach also has to approve and give you the okay. Like, yo,
hopefully you have tremendous input in this. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I want to ask you guys. I haven't had a chance to really see. So how is Rodrigo Salazar fitting into the team?
Because of the World Cup.
That was a big signing, yeah.
It's a big signing, but because of the World Cup, he didn't really participate in the first part of the preseason.
Okay.
We finally got to look at him here. He came in against Strasbourg, and he did play against Monaco. He's a different kind of player. He's not Trincão. He's a different kind of player. But I really can't comment on how he's fitting in yet because it just we love the World Cup, but at the same time the World Cup really affects a club's preseason.
Absolutely.
When you're a big club and you have all these internationals.
Yeah.
We saw. Under normal circumstances, I think if Benfica had a full preseason with all their players and they had all their options, I think they would have gone into Switzerland and won.
Yeah.
I think that it's right now. I really can't comment on how he's fitting in. We have to see how things play out. But we've it's right now. It's a team in flux because we've had to play with Eduardo Felício as a center back. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he's not going to play, as a center back, for this season because, the boss is still not 100%. Inácio has not played, a second yet, and Ibrahim Ba is not ready to play yet because he's still recovering from surgery in May. So, So it's a defense that we really, right now it's a defense that we're not going to see in the regular season. Fresneda hasn't really played yet. He's a starting right back. Maxi came back late because of the World Cup. So we've seen a couple of preseason games, but I don't think it's really indicative of what's going to happen in the regular season when the games count.
All right. We are just 10 days away from the start of the season for most teams. It came really fast. We do have a Super Cup this coming weekend, and obviously it's going to feature the champions, Porto. I'm going to segue a little bit to the champions now. They've got two, according to FOTMob, two official friendlies this preseason. A 1-0 loss to Gil Vicente on July 22nd, and then this past Saturday, a 2-1 win over Aston Villa in their presentation game, I believe it was, at the Dragão.
Yes.
Again, it's a Aston Villa that's, missing people, of course. I'm looking at the lineup right now. There's some notable names missing here. But same goes for Porto. I mean, Claudio Ramos is playing goalkeeper. They got Rosario, Kivior, Bednarek, and Sanusi in the back. That's, that's not completely full strength, but that's pretty close.
Yeah.
Their midfield is intact. Varela, Froholt, and Vega. And then up front, the return of André Silva to the Liga Portugal and to Porto with Pepe and with Gomes.
So they weren't impacted by the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
we talked about this on the podcast. How they barely anybody besides the goalie.
Dennis was there, wasn't it?
That can be advantage.
Yeah.
I don't think they really sold many. I don't know who they sold.
No.
They sold, and they really haven't added much. So
no,
it's the same team.
They've got on the bench. They had Rodrigo Mora, Borja Sainz, Dennis Gould, Nejuan Perez, João Costa. It was the backup goalkeeper.
It's the same game.
Yeah, and Steven Eustáquio returning from his loan in MLS.
Yes. Yeah, I think they brought in I believe it's a Korean player from Feyenoord.
Yeah, In Byom Hwang.
So they signed two guys, but they didn't, like Derek said, they didn't get rid of anybody.
Yeah.
5.1
million for him.
They probably had a more complete preseason because there isn't much flux with the team because they weren't too impacted by the World Cup. It's a team that already has their routines down.
Yeah, it's a continuation of last season. Basically, they picked up where they left off.
They may have an advantage heading into the season.
This win over Aston Villa, it's to be taken with a grain of salt, like any preseason result. And in these, you watch these games, there's 11 substitutions a game. I mean, they change all 11 players at some point, so there's little to be taken from the result. But obviously, it was enough to spark confidence in Porto and in their fan base, and they're feeling like they're going to go and repeat again. They're feeling like the old Porto again when they would win, 3 out of every 4. And I mean, to be fair, they right now have all the momentum, and until they get knocked off a little bit, they're going to be the favorites, I think, in the league this season for the reasons we just pointed out. There's so much continuation there, so much consistency. They got the same manager, most of the same team. In a matter of days and weeks, they will have the full team, and they were just a machine last year of competency, really, just being competent and getting results however they need to. That's always been Porto's MO. It's never been to play this type of football that just wows you. It's always been about getting the results whatever way that they need to. And I mean, the addition of André Silva is very interesting. I don't see Samu. Was he with Spain at the World Cup?
No, Samu was hurt still.
He was hurt.
Trying to recover. I don't know if he's going to be ready for this season, but he should be.
I haven't heard anything about him. Yeah, so I don't know if he's still conditioned.
He's not on the bench against Aston Villa.
So if he's not allowed to fully train, then he won't be ready for the start of the season. They're going to have to lean on André Silva.
Yes.
Which that's a guy who's done it before. He's done it at the national team level at points in his career as well. He's been at several.
From him
You haven't heard much, right? He kind of went off the radar a little bit.
But I mean, Porto really didn't have outside of Samu. I mean, Samu had scored some goals, but they were able to win a championship without having a go-to striker.
Yeah, they found goals elsewhere. They got an unusually high number of goals from their center backs last year. They're very good at those. Yeah, and again, they've got Farioli. He didn't take the Italy job. He didn't move to Serie A. So that only is going to strengthen their confidence right now at this point in the season. They got Torreense this weekend, right? A second division side who, for as great as a story it was last year, is still a second division side. And they didn't go out and spend money to build a Europa League team. That's a bonus for them. They're going to play those games, but they're not breaking the bank to try to compete in the Europa League. Right. They know they're in the Portuguese second division, and without a doubt, their goal is going to be promoted this year, first and foremost. I don't think they're going to risk any of that on Thursday nights, But it's going to be an interesting game, I think, to see where Porto are. Of course, they're playing in Coimbra. They're going to have the majority of the fan support. Yeah. And like I said, I think they're very confident right now, and I think their fan base is very confident. They got their quote-unquote mojo back that they had years ago after, quite a dry spell without titles there. I think it was 4 seasons they went without a title. Yep. And or maybe it was 3, but for them, that's an eternity for what they're used to the last 40 years.
They're accustomed to winning so much,
They're so accustomed to winning, right, that it's going to be interesting. But I think that they're probably going to come out on the front foot. I think they might have a very convincing win against Torreense. They tend to take care of these types of opponents a lot easier than Benfica and Sporting do. I find that they, especially early in the season, they do sometimes run out of steam. They play with a lot of aggression. They play with a lot of emotion, and that early on is great because they're really into these games and they're sharp and they're. Yeah. But then 2-3 months from now, they may start to fatigue a little bit if the squad isn't freshened up, if there isn't some sort of a player rotation, and they can start to. And then they got Champions League, so. It's going to get very real for them in the month of September, but I think right now I expect them to have a fairly. I'm going to take a look at their fixture list for the month of August, just to see here. So they have Torreense, then they open at home with Alverca. They go to Rio Ave. They're home against Aroca, and they're at Academic de Viseu. This is their month of August.
So. They didn't pick the schedule, right?
12 points in a Super Cup is not outside. Would not be crazy.
No.
Aroca may put up some fight, but again, that's going to be at the Dragão, and a trip to Vila do Conde to face Rio Ave can be, depending which way the wind is blowing that day, can be a challenge, but. It won't shock me if on August 30th they beat Academic de Viseu and they have 12 points atop the league after the month of August. I think it picks up after that in September, and you start to see European football come in, and things can start to get real. But I expect them to get off to a pretty good start this season.
Yeah,
I think so.
Braga were 1-0 winners in Serbia last week in their Europa League qualifier.
Yep.
I'm going to pull up their information here to take a look at that. I don't want to leave Braga out. Conference League playoffs, not Europa. Conference League. This is a real opportunity for them to go very, very deep in Europe.
Coming off a semifinal appearance in the Europa League.
I think that has to be the goal, is to get to the semifinals at this point, at the very least now that they did that last year.
Until you run into the Premier League team.
Unless you run into, which is, someone's going to have to run into them each round. But they were 1-0 winners off from the penalty spot, Ricardo Horta. They led in possession. They had 4 shots. Their opponents had 8 shots, but
It's still a preseason game.
It's still preseason, and these teams are further along in their season. Right. That can't be underestimated. A lot of times, we fans forget that. We look at rosters, we look at names. Sometimes we make too much of the name of our players or of the shirt we're wearing, so to speak, and we don't really know these opponents. For example, I knew nothing about St. Gallen when Benfica were playing them. I'm hearing from people saying that they're at the level of a Liga 3 side. I've seen enough Liga 3 matches in the past 5 years that they're better. They're not at that level. They are not that low. St. Gallen is not a Liga 3 side. But this is the perception that we have of these teams when they're not from the Premier League, when they're not at least from the Dutch or the Belgian league. We look at these teams like they're the Portuguese third division level, and they're champions, final runners up, third place finishers in their own leagues. These are not just anybody. They earn that over a long season, and a lot of them have European experience. So the Conference League has opened up Europe to a whole new tier of teams, and I think it's been good in that regard, and it has brought up teams to our awareness. And the most famous, of course, is that Norwegian team that you guys saw last year in the round of 16. Their name, Bodo Glimt. Thank you. Their name was escaping me, but I remember them making a name in the Conference League first, and eventually going out to Mourinho's Roma team that went on to win that first edition. And and now there they are playing in the Champions League a few seasons later, right? They went up the ladder. This gets teams a foot in the door. This gets teams a foot in the door from quote unquote lesser leagues. So, and Mauricio had said that Braga's match was played on an artificial surface.
Yes.
That we can't underestimate how difficult that is either when teams never play on it. So I think Braga are going to be happy coming home this week
with a lead.
With a 1-0 lead. They should see this through, and I think they're then two more rounds to go to get to the league phase. I think
that is correct.
It's qualification round 2, so there's 2 more rounds to go. It's still a long way to get to the league phase. Yeah. So again, our league has really struggled.
Everybody. By losing that cup final.
I know Famalicão would be loving to be in this situation right now. But that's just the way the cookie crumbled this season, and we'll see what Torreense does when they have the opportunity to play in the Europa League. They'll be playing in
I don't
Liga.
think that's going to help our coefficient.
Yeah.
You know what though? I mean, even if they get 1 point, it'll be more than we've gotten in the past. Outside of the year that Vitória Guimarães made a good run in the Conference League, even if they get 1 point, because now with Braga in the conference, the points count the same. They're not weighted differently, so they count the same. A win is a win. Braga should rack up wins in this Conference League.
Yes.
And I fully expect.
I think this is going to do for Torreense. I think it's going to do more harm than good.
It'll be an experience.
You still have to play the games on Thursday, and you're roped into 8 games.
That's right, and there's the revenue that comes with that too. So.
Especially this team, this team with limited financial means has to travel, 4 times. I think this is it's going to have a detrimental impact on the team. I think, and they're probably not going to, be able to compete for promotion like they would have if they didn't have to deal with the position. In my opinion.
It'll be interesting to see how they handle it. I'm curious. I'm curious. They may just take the Europa League as quote unquote training matches and focus on the league, and they'll take their ticket would be to draw a team. I don't know, like a Rangers or somebody, to come and fill Ladies Stadium once, and they can cash in on it. And I mean, because they can put 20,000 people in that stadium. If they can draw one of the bigger names in the Europa League, they can fill the stadium once, and that should finance the whole participation in the competition. And the players will have the experience of playing on a Thursday night in front of Europe. But I think their focus will be, the Liga 2, and it cannot become like we see sometimes with the first division teams that kind of aren't ready for Europe, where it becomes sort of like the detriment Derek's talking about. How many times have we seen this happen to Santa Clara? This happened. They're in Europe, and a season later they're in the second division.
Happened to Guimarães.
It happened to Guimarães, exactly. So, Guimarães is still rebuilding from that.
Yep. That's my concern. That's really my concern for Torino. I think this can hurt more than help.
Right, and that second division, those games, they're taxing on you.
Sure are,
a lot and everything.
Yep.
They're super
very balanced league. It's super competitive. The difference between first and 18th is much smaller. I mean, every match is difficult. So, plus you have the B teams.
It could be like 7 points between first and ninth.
Right, exactly. It's not like the first division where there's the big three running away and then another pack chasing, and then there's everyone from like 8 to 9 down that's playing to avoid relegation. Exactly. It's not like that. So it'll be interesting to see. Anything you guys have seen, read, heard that you want to talk about any other teams? Any Famalicão? Do we want to talk about Carlos Carvalhal returning to?
Before we get to that, I'm kind of Braga. I'm kind of worried because you sold the guy like Salazar and you sold him for that money, and you really didn't bring anybody in, and you still pretty much have the same team. I was hoping they would do something else. Yeah, they got Travassos from us, but he's not even playing with them. He didn't even get off the bench for this game or anything like that. I was hoping they would try to make, a buy or something, or try to at least improve, because I think even Derek said this last year, and I agree with him. I expected more of a fight from them for a third position.
Yeah, I think
last year.
I think there's pressure on them this year. I think they have to do better in the league. They have to do way better in the league.
Remember, third place this year is a Champions League playoff spot.
Yeah, so I think they have to do better.
They can't give up halfway through and just be content with fourth.
They were never in contention for third place, in my opinion, all of last year.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they were. I don't think that's the intention of the president or the intention of the club. I think they want to be challenging for top spots, top 3 spots. I think. Yeah,
he's always been vocal about that.
That's the whole mission behind this presidency, and over the last decade or whatever. So for them to not even remotely challenge, I don't think it's acceptable. I think they have to have a better league season this year. They gave Vicente a lot of slack last year, which is not Salvador's MO. He's known to he's known to fire coaches for better seasons.
Yeah.
So
the European run kind of glossed it over a little bit.
In this guy, but I think he has to show more this year with respect to how they perform in the league.
Mm-hmm. And then you have their rivals, Vitória. We don't know what to expect from them.
No.
And again, I'm going to pull up and see what they have done in this preseason, but it's been
who they elected to be coach? I know they didn't bring that guy.
I'm going to check right now and see where they stand.
And by the way, kudos to Famalicão. They sold Ba. They hit bank again. Like these guys, these players that they get, everyone should be following their model. I don't know who it is, but they've hit a gold mine with the model and everything they've done. So listen, I tip my cap to them every year. They're competitive. They're in the top 6 or 7 every year, selling guys and everything, and still finding other teams. So I expect Gabriel to continue it. I expect him. I think that's a perfect good fit for him. A team like that, not like one of the big 3, but the teams like Estoril, Famalicão, Gil Vicente, something like that for Gabriel right now, I think is a good fit.
Yeah, those guys have had impacts in their clubs. I mean, look what Port has done for Sporting. Look what Manu Ugarte did for Sporting. So it's not only that they're really coming up with quality. They're finding quality footballers that go on to bigger stages and perform.
So I'm getting excited about Vitória Guimarães. I'm looking at they're coached by one of the guys we like. It's Tiago Margarido has taken over from Nacional. Yeah.
Yes.
So that perks my interest a bit. I'm looking down their roster. They still got Charles there.
I was always a big fan of that guy at Nacional.
Yeah, me too. And I remember him back in the Liga 3 with Varzin. He was impressive. I think he actually, he had a good cup run with them.
He's getting a chance here.
Yeah. He's getting a chance to prove himself here.
You don't get much of a chance over there. They're quick to fire.
Yeah.
So Mikey, who took over for Ian Cathro at Estoril?
I was just going to check that because I know we lost Ian Cathro this season, which is another one of the guys we like. Let's see. So Vasco Matos is coaching Estoril.
Santa Clara.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I'm not a real big fan of his, no.
No.
Yeah, so that's let's see here.
It's very
they played
heavy.
They played very pragmatic, not that fun to watch.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just looking at the coaching carousel.
So it's going to be a totally different. It's going to be a totally different identity for Estoril. We'll see how they cope.
Yeah.
It's going to be a 180. It's going to be a 180 experience for them.
Yeah, no doubt at all. Let's see here. So we know Carlos Carvalhal is at Famalicão, so that's going to be an interesting.
And I would think Seabra is back with the Roca.
Seabra is back with the Roca. That's what I have on my screen right now.
There you go. We capture that match.
And then Custodio left Alverca.
He did.
Okay, let's see. I have Santa Clara up. Petit is still there, coach.
I can't believe that.
That's
Usually he doesn't return after he
takes off. Yeah.
Usually he gets safety and then he runs.
Yes.
Let's see here. Who did you just ask me about, Mauricio?
Alverca. I know they lost.
Alverca, that's right. Alverca. Alverca are coached by Sergio Freire.
Okay.
38 years old. Not much. He looks like he came from Portugal. So
okay.
Coming out of
that. Is Gazapia still Álvaro Pacheco with his famous hats?
So. I hope so. Let's see here. No, it's Felipe Coelho is the name of the coach at Gazapia.
So Pacheco was not there. Okay.
No, it looks like he also guaranteed safety and took. Let's see where Mr. Álvaro Pacheco is. He comes up.
Oh, no.
Álvaro Pacheco is unemployed.
Oh, yeah, you don't have to wait too long in the Portuguese league.
Yeah.
No, you don't. They'll be sacking by September. Yep.
He already padded the resume. He already padded the resume. He says, I saved them. So he padded the resume.
Exactly.
Yeah. He was one of only two teams to beat Porto.
Yeah. Let's see here. We got Academic Viseu is coached by Bruno Pinheiro. They're one of the promoted teams.
He's the one that started the season with. He had Estoril before, didn't he?
He had Estoril at one point. He did.
Yeah, he did. Gil Vicente.
He's had a measure of success. So
Luis Pinto is coaching Gil Vicente, 37 years
old. Man, I don't know about
that. He was coaching Vitória Guimarães last season. Yeah.
So who's coaching Estrela Amadora?
Let's take a look. Estrela da Amadora. That's what I'm kind of doing informally.
Yeah.
Peppa returns.
Oh no!
After a short tenure some time ago at Cruzeiro in Brazil, he takes over at Estrela.
That guy. What about I guess we have Marítimo left.
Marítimo, yeah, they were the other promoted side. Let's see what they got here. Mitchell Vandergaag. I like that one.
Oh my God, he's still there.
One of their long-time. I remember him playing for them.
Yo, his kid, I think, plays for Leiria.
He did. Last I saw, he was playing for Leiria.
Yes.
Yeah, Jordan Vandergaag.
Dude, that guy.
Yeah. I wonder if he thought, like, when he first came to Portugal 20-something years ago, that he would never leave.
He probably was just coming for like one season, and
no, he's here to stay.
Yeah,
he's like, I love it here.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We got Moreira is managed by Vasco again. Vasco Botelho da Costa. I think that was the manager last year.
I believe so. Yeah.
And I think we got Nacional was taken over by.
That's the Sporting B coach.
João Guillaume.
Yeah, that's
Sporting B coach. 39 years old. There's a lot of coaches in their late 30s here this season.
Yeah, which is fine.
But like you said,
which is good.
But like you said, give it a couple weeks and a carousel starts.
The carousel will begin, and Lito Vidigal is somewhere waiting for the first team to have 0 points after 10 rounds.
No, it's not Vidigal. It's that guy from Boavista. What's his name? Bachi. He's ready.
Yeah, Boavista.
Oh man.
So they did raise enough money to, I guess, keep the club alive, if I understand correctly from that drive. For people that don't know, Boavista went insolvent or out of business. They handed in the keys to their stadium to their creditors, and the very next day they had an online campaign and raised, I think, 55,000 euros to get the keys back, so to speak.
Right.
Don't know where. I'm assuming they're still playing in the bottom division of the Porto Regional League.
I believe you're right. Yes.
But they exist.
The same thing happened to Salgueiros too, I think.
Yeah, they're in the fourth tier now. Yeah, and I think
they opened a different iteration of Salgueiros.
Right. They add the year or whatever, and they become.
And listen, and Stubel's still trying to find their way back.
They are. It's not easy for these clubs. They made poor decisions over the years, and then they just can't afford to make poor. Unfortunately, the pressure. These clubs are so small they can't afford to make the mistakes other clubs can make, and they bring in investors that have less than honest. It seems at least less than honest intentions. They think they're gonna. I don't know. They obviously didn't do their homework if they thought they're gonna turn a profit owning a Portuguese club, but they come in and Boavista is in the worst case because that ownership group has done the same at Bordeaux. Correct, Derek?
Bordeaux.
Yeah.
Bordeaux, they're now in the sixth division.
Yeah. So this is
that's a team that's won Liga in the past. So.
This multi-ownership model is something I think that needs to be looked at a little bit more scrutinous, and I don't know how much success there really is in it. The most successful model is Man City's, but is anyone other than Man City successful in their system? I think it's really just the team at the top. Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think it's just the team at the top really that's seeing any kind of success.
Girona really hasn't.
Yeah.
Right.
And the Red Bull is the original multi-owner, but they took established clubs and that were already kind of in a decent place, with the exception of really Bragantino in Brazil was the only Red Bull that was small. It was in the low levels, and they bought their way into the Serie A in Brazil. But it just, I don't know that this ever should have been allowed, to be honest. Anytime a club is owning another club and you've set up that feeder system, whether they want to admit that that's what it is or not, that leaves everybody not at the top of that pyramid very, very vulnerable.
Yeah. There's divided interest.
Yeah.
You're just hoping it doesn't happen to a Rio Ave because that's how they're in that situation now.
Yeah, I know. And I saw today another player from Famalicão on his way to Nottingham Forest to go on loan to Olympiacos, which is all in that same family. Who was it now? It was one of the Famalicão players that was
Andre Luis just got sold.
Yeah, big money move. MLS, yeah. Big money move.
And he got sold for more money than what they paid. I can't.
Well, they sold him cheap. The right pocket sold it to the left pocket for a cheap price, and now it's been sold on at a profit.
Yeah,
you see what these clubs are trying to do. They're not trying to build successful separate teams. So, a lot of times it's papering over losses with these phony transfers and or at least sketchy transfers from one team within the ownership group to another. And we've even seen it at Man City where they're basically sponsoring their own team and calling it revenue to get around financial fair play. There's been a lot of threats of coming down hard on them, but nothing really has ever
Nothing's
materialized.
And this has been going on for many years now. So
and every time,
years now,
yeah. And every time something comes down, they go to the court of arbitration for sport and they win. You know, money talks. They have the best lawyers, and they have better lawyers than the leagues or than even UEFA probably. Right. So they end up coming out, you know, paying a little bit of a fine, a little slap on the wrist, but nothing more than that.
No.
So this is something I'd like to see done away with the whole, because even the Red Bull teams, they've lost their complete identity. You look at New York Red Bulls here. One year they're black. One year they're wearing red. The next year they just don't look like a club, and their stadium's empty, despite being one of the really good stadiums on this continent for this game. There's other reasons for that, but there's really no interest. There's nobody wearing Red Bull New York uniforms in New York City. You know.
I can tell you that right now because I'm close to their stadium.
I know you are, yeah. I've been there plenty of times. It's not, you know, it's as empty as it looks on television. Yes. Even though they'll announce a crowd of 20,000 because they've given away 20,000 tickets,
right?
And 12 or 13,000 actually.
I believe the stadium's in Harrison, New Jersey.
It's in Harrison, yeah, it's in Harrison. It's not the easiest place to get to.
No.
It's even worse to get out. It's not bad to get in. Getting out is not fun. Even when there's only 12,000 people there. But yeah, it's a model that I think is taken away from the identity of several clubs, right?
I agree. Yeah.
And I'm sure if you ask supporters of Leipzig and of the one in Austria there, Salzburg.
I still have nightmares over Casino Salzburg.
They want They want to return to their old club. You know, they want to. In Brazil, I know because I watched that league. The Bragantino fans still wear the black and white striped kit they wore as Bragantino, not as Red Bull. So they support the team, but not the Red Bull brand. You know, the stadium will be full of black and white striped jerseys, even though the team is playing in red, you know, Red Bull uniforms. So, I don't know how long that kind of a model can last anyway. But
it hasn't been, you know, terribly successful.
No, it hasn't. Right. You haven't seen, you know, a player come through Bragantino into Salzburg, into Leipzig, right? For example, you haven't seen that player make that move and get to the top of that pyramid and be. You know, and I haven't seen Leipzig win anything. Who is the top at the Red Bull? No. The pyramid is Leipzig, and they haven't won anything. So
they sold some good players, but
Erling Haaland comes to mind, and he came from Salzburg actually, which is another confusing thing, right? Because they had him in their system, and they sold him to Dortmund, and then
aren't they going to sell right now? Diamant, isn't he on Salzburg?
You know,
he may very well be.
The one that's going for like 120 or 50.
I know there's a huge so that must be their end game at the end of the day. Right. And Red Bull is a sports machine. I mean, they're in auto sports, they're in football, they're in I think they're in cycling, they're in motor racing.
They're in a lot of places. Yeah,
they're in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, any closing thoughts before we call it a night, since this is just the preview?
No, I'm just my whole thing is,
days.
You know, I'm concerned for my club.
Mm-hmm. I am too.
I'm just interested the Porto side. Now everyone has the tape. You can't surprise anyone with your tactics.
Yeah,
everyone
it's true.
knows how you play now. But the thing is, you are coming back with the team, and you're playing in Europe. And we always said this last year. Let's see how they do if they have, you know, competitive European games involved in their schedule. So I'm interested to see how they respond now that they're now they're the hunted. They're not the hunter anymore.
That's true.
So it'll be interested to see how.
And there is typically a drop off in the second season.
Yeah.
Right.
Even Mourinho's, you know, first Porto season to Porto's second season, there was a drop off.
Yeah,
right.
They weren't as. I mean, I know in the league, I'm saying I know they won the.
I know they won the Champions League, but in the league,
there was a drop off. they weren't as untouchable as they were that first year, where they were just destroying everybody.
Right.
So I do think they may be a drop off here, but I know there's so many there's so much with Sporting right now. I don't know.
I know.
Especially think about the attack. Like it looks like Flavio Gonçalves is going to start as the left winger for Sporting. So we're for all the pieces that we put in the midfield, there's still a lack of depth up front.
Yeah.
And
can Folty stay healthy? Suarez doesn't have the legs to play a whole season again.
Yeah, you need the task,
especially coming off a World Cup.
Exactly.
There's no downtime, really.
It's a massive investment. Lucho hasn't played at all this far in the preseason, so
right.
I mean, there's so many question marks for this team, and it's and like Mike said, it's 10 days away for crying out loud.
But even Mikey has his questions. Like Mikey's probably tired of hearing who's going to leave and who's going to stay.
Every year. I hate it until that transfer window closes.
Every 2 days, a Benfica guy is leaving, and then 2 days later, he's staying. Then
today it's Pereiro going to Al Ittihad.
Yes,
of all,
can't
even keep squad players at this point. I mean,
so all of our teams have something besides just Porto just waiting to see.
We're just waiting.
And remember, at this time last year, even 5, 6, 7 weeks into the season, we thought Porto were eventually going to return back to where they had been the last couple seasons, and we thought it was, we didn't think there was any way they were going to fix the problems they had the previous 2 seasons. Yeah. And then in came Farioli. They got on a run and they never looked back. So we'll see. It is going to be more difficult for them. I think I agree with you guys on that one, because now they're not. That element of surprise in the first third of the season isn't going to be there, and they got a lot of momentum from that last season.
Thing is, we can all speculate and commentate, but we don't know. We don't know how these things play out.
Exactly.
This could be a completely surprising beginning of the season. We don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. And we looked at their schedule, so that looks favorable. But again, sometimes we look at these teams and we think it's favorable, and then in March we realize, oh, actually that team wasn't so bad. Suddenly they're in 7th or 8th place.
We have no clue.
You could just ask me and Derek. We thought we had 2 easy wins. We ended up losing and tying in the 90th minute in both those games last year.
Yeah.
So that'll tell you everything right there.
We saw Gil Vicente last year get off to a great start. We didn't think they were going to stay there.
Gil Vicente,
Someone will probably fill that role for the first half of the season.
It's going to be a new Gil Vicente. There always is. So
yeah, exactly.
Right now it's unknown who that team's going to be, but there will be a team that's going to come out there and be, wow, what is this team doing in 5th place, or what is this team challenging 4th place? After the first 10, 12 rounds. So.
Oh, they haven't played anybody. That'll be the excuse, and then they've played some teams now.
So.
Because they get confidence.
Intriguing start to the season. But I do think Sporting's the biggest X factor.
Yeah.
Right now I'm looking at this league as I don't know what the heck to expect when the whistle blows on August 8th. I'm sort of like I'm following it every day. Trying to formulate an opinion, but I don't know what's gonna happen, man.
Not easy. Yep. No, you had a lot of change in your club, and it happened kind of abruptly. So
we don't even know who our captain is.
Yeah,
to be honest. With
you. And the Salazar, so you don't want Port anymore, right? So we're getting Port, but I mean, who's Salazar's backup? Who's going to play in that 10 position? If we don't want Bragança, if we don't want Potts, Trincão is gone. So I mean, for all these pieces that they've added, I still think this is a team that still needs more depth. With taking into account all the people that have departed. So.
Right.
I got my opinions on Sporting right now, man. It's just, I don't know.
You just have to see how it plays out, like you said.
I'm gonna have to check up on Derek, man.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to come? Do you guys want to do this next week and recap the Super Cup, or you want to just come back in 2 weeks and recap week 1, and we can include the Super Cup in that?
I think that'd be best.
I think it's better if we do the.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
we'll
I don't
have
want to talk
episode
about.
2.
I don't want to talk about Porto winning
Yeah, it was one thing when it was the League Cup final last year, and we were talking about Braga against Vitória. But we don't need to see Porto win another trophy already.
No, we don't need that.
And talk about it already.
Them, no.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be Porto against Sporting, but Sporting do that.
We're already getting in trouble for mispronouncing Porto, so we don't.
Yeah. For people listening,
ways of pronouncing them.
For people listening on audio, Derek was distracted because I put a comment up on.
You put the comment up there, and I'm like, what?
And a Porto fan had said that the way that Derek was pronouncing Porto was he was taking as disrespect because he said Porto. He used the English pronunciation. Nothing disrespectful about it.
No.
We're speaking English right now. We're speaking English, and he used the English pronunciation.
I have the utmost respect for them. I hate seeing them win, but I have the utmost respect for them.
And listeners can get used to it because I'm going to go back and forth between pronounce that. Listen, his name is Marco Silva, but I'm going to say Marco Silva at times, and I'm going to say Marco Silva at other times. It's just what comes. When you're bilingual, it's just what comes out.
That's how we talk here in the States.
It is. It's a half and half.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like my father would say, "Epa, go get that thing over there." Vai buscar esse over there. That's it.
There's definitely a mixture of languages.
Yeah, that's our first language is a combination.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not always the same. So, all right, we will close this one here, and we'll be back in 2 weeks on a Tuesday night again. We'll try to keep it Tuesday like we've always done. There may be the odd week here and there where we have to go a Wednesday. We'll talk about it. But if this is your first time listening, watching, welcome. Stay tuned to my X feed because I'll post the episodes there at Mike Agostinho, at MikeAgostinho. Also on my YouTube channel as well. You can watch there if you prefer to use YouTube. If you're not on X, not everyone is. But that's it. So for Derek and for Mauricio, I'm going to sign off, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Okay.
All right. See you, boys.
See ya.